You'll never understand your cat's bizarre behaviors if you don't know these 13 incredible things they can see and hear that you can't. While your cat stares intensely at nothing or suddenly bolts across the room, they're actually responding to a world completely invisible to you. Most cat owners misinterpret these reactions because they have no idea what their cats are actually sensing. The truth about what your cat can perceive will change how you see them forever. First, micro-expression detection. Your cat doesn't just recognize you, they're detecting micro-expressions on your face that most humans completely miss. While you might notice obvious emotional displays, your cat can see subtle facial muscle movements that are invisible to the average person. Research has revealed something remarkable. Cats can detect facial changes so tiny that they happen below our conscious awareness. When your mood shifts slightly, your cat notices microscopic changes in your muscle tension, pupil dilation, and blood flow patterns in your face. They're particularly attuned to these minute visual cues that reveal your emotional state before you've even fully registered it yourself. This explains why your cat might appear at your side precisely when you're feeling sad or anxious. They've literally seen physiological changes that humans can't perceive. What makes this ability even more impressive is how they've fine-tuned their vision to spot these subtle signals. Next time your cat seems to know your emotional state before anyone else, remember, they're seeing visual cues that are completely invisible to the human eye. 2. Sensing human stress and illness. Beyond what you can see in the mirror, your cat detects invisible signals of stress and illness emanating from your body. Their specialized sensory system picks up on chemical signatures in your sweat, breath, and skin that completely escape human perception. When your body chemistry shifts due to illness, your cat observes these changes before symptoms become obvious to you. Their heightened olfactory capabilities allow them to detect compounds released during fever, infection, or even in conditions like diabetes or cancer. Medical researchers are still working to develop devices that can match what your cat does naturally. This exceptional ability explains those moments when your normally independent cat suddenly becomes unusually attentive. What appears as random behavior change is actually your feline responding to biochemical shifts they've detected in your body, sometimes days before you feel the first symptom. While human doctors need tests and equipment, your cat's built-in detection system is constantly monitoring your health status without you ever realizing it. 3. The ghost footstep detector. Every human's walk has a unique sonic signature, one that's completely indistinguishable to us, but crystal clear to your cat. While you hear simple footsteps, your cat perceives a complex audio fingerprint created by your specific gait, weight distribution, and even the subtle creaks of your joints. This remarkable auditory ability allows them to identify exactly who's approaching from another room or even from outside your home. Your cat processes these sound patterns through their specialized ear structure, which contains significantly more auditory nerve fibers than human ears. This explains why they're often waiting at the door before you even insert your key. They identified your unique walking pattern while you were still down the hallway or approaching the building. The precision of this ability becomes evident when observing how differently they react to familiar versus unfamiliar footsteps. Notice how your cat distinguishes between household members, responding differently to each person's approach. That's because each set of footsteps creates a distinct soundscape that triggers specific associations and expectations in your cat's mind, a level of auditory detail completely lost to human hearing. 4. The master of tiny changes. Your cat possesses an extraordinary visual and auditory memory system that catalogs every detail of your household routines. When you make changes too subtle for human attention, your cat immediately detects these microscopic disruptions in the established pattern. Moving an object slightly, changing the timing of activities, or altering your behavior in minor ways, all register intensely in your cat's sensory world. Their heightened perception system evolved to detect the slightest environmental changes that might signal danger or opportunity. This explains those moments when your cat stares intensely at a spot where furniture used to be, or reacts oddly after you've rearranged items. Even more impressive is how they notice shifts in your behavior patterns. Changed your morning routine slightly? Your cat has already created a detailed mental map of the differences before you've even finished your coffee. This acute sensitivity to pattern disruptions serves as a sophisticated security system, one that continues to operate at a level of detail our human senses simply cannot process. 5. Built-in night vision. In the darkness that leaves you stumbling, your cat moves with perfect precision thanks to their specialized night vision capabilities. Their eyes contain a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum that human eyes completely lack, transforming even the faintest light into usable visual information. This reflective tissue bounces light back through the retina, essentially giving photons a second chance to be detected. The result? Your cat requires only 1/6 the amount of light humans need to navigate their environment. That eerie glow you sometimes catch in their eyes? It's visible proof of this extraordinary adaptation working in real time. Beyond just amplifying available light, their pupils can dilate 3 times wider than human eyes, dramatically increasing light collection. Notice how your cat confidently navigates your home during power outages or in near-total darkness? While you see shadowy shapes at best, they're perceiving detailed outlines, movement, and depth with remarkable clarity, seeing a fully realized world that remains completely invisible to you. 6. The invisible air map. Those prominent whiskers aren't just for show. They function as sophisticated air current detectors that provide your cat with an invisible 3D map of their surroundings. Each whisker contains specialized sensory organs at its base that register microscopic air movements human skin cannot detect. This extraordinary ability allows your cat to sense objects and movements without seeing them. When something shifts position in a room, even silently behind them, the resulting air displacement creates patterns their whiskers instantly interpret. This explains those moments when your cat suddenly turns towards something that appears completely still to you. Even more remarkable is how this whisker-based sensory system works in complete darkness. The subtle changes in air pressure around objects create a detailed environmental map that supplements their vision. While you rely solely on what you can see, your cat moves through a world of invisible air currents that constantly update their mental map of the surroundings, a completely imperceptible dimension of reality that shapes their behavior in ways most owners never understand. 7. Sounds you'll never notice. While your world goes silent at around 20,000 Hz, your cat continues hearing sounds up to 64,000 Hz, an entire universe of high-frequency sound that remains completely inaudible to human ears. This extended hearing range gives them access to a sonic landscape filled with information you'll never perceive. The ultrasonic communications of mice, the high-pitched sounds of insects, even the electronic hum of your household devices, all register clearly in your cat's auditory world. This explains those moments when your cat appears to be listening intently to nothing, or suddenly becomes alert without apparent cause. They're actually responding to high-frequency sounds happening beyond your perceptual limits. Their specialized ear structure, with independently movable ears containing over 24 muscles each, allows them to precisely locate these sounds in 3-dimensional space. When your cat turns their ears like miniature satellite dishes, they're triangulating ultrasonic sources with exceptional accuracy. Each ear movement represents their attempt to capture more detail from sound frequencies that exist in a realm of silence for humans, an invisible auditory dimension that constantly influences their behavior. 8. The precision jumpers. That jaw-dropping leap your cat makes from floor to countertop isn't just impressive athleticism. It's the result of extraordinary depth perception capabilities that far exceed human visual abilities. Your cat's specialized binocular vision provides them with an unparalleled 3-dimensional understanding of their environment. While humans have roughly a 140-degree field of vision with substantial binocular overlap, your cat's eyes are positioned to maximize depth calculation. Their visual system processes minute differences in object positioning with mathematical precision that would require measuring tools for humans to match. This explains why they can gauge exact distances in milliseconds before executing perfectly calculated jumps. Most fascinating is how they combine this depth perception with proprioception, their awareness of their body's position in space. Notice how your cat rarely miscalculates a jump, even to moving targets? They're processing spatial relationships through neural pathways specifically evolved for predatory precision. The mental calculations happening in those moments before a leap involve a level of spatial analysis that human visual systems simply cannot achieve without technological assistance. 9. The temperature mappers. Your cat doesn't just find the warmest spot in the house by accident. They're sensing thermal patterns completely invisible to human perception. While humans perceive general temperature, cats detect minute heat variations down to fractions of a degree through specialized sensory receptors in their skin. This exceptional sensitivity transforms your living space into a detailed thermal landscape. Your cat sees the lingering warmth where you sat minutes ago, the subtle heat signatures of small creatures within walls, and even the temperature differences between objects that feel identical to human touch. That's why they often choose seemingly random spots. They've identified invisible warm zones humans cannot detect. Most remarkable is how they track body heat through barriers. Notice how your cat sometimes stares intently at a solid wall? They might be sensing the heat signature of a small animal moving behind it. While thermal imaging cameras can replicate this ability for humans, your cat processes this information naturally and constantly. Their brain integrates these thermal patterns with other sensory inputs, creating a multidimensional understanding of their environment that includes temperature layers completely undetectable to human senses. 10. The UV light perceivers. In your home right now, there's an invisible world of ultraviolet patterns your cat sees clearly while you remain completely blind to it. Unlike humans, cats lack a filtering lens that blocks ultraviolet light, allowing them to perceive this additional light spectrum that reveals hidden markings, patterns, and glowing effects invisible to human eyes. This ultraviolet vision transforms ordinary objects into extraordinary sights. Fabrics with optical brighteners, certain flowers, and even some body fluids glow dramatically in this light spectrum. This explains why your cat might fixate on seemingly ordinary items. They're actually seeing vibrant UV patterns where you perceive nothing unusual. Their ability to see ultraviolet light also provides them with practical advantages. Urine trails that are invisible to humans appear as glowing markers to cats, allowing them to track other animals or identify territory boundaries. Bird feathers, which often reflect UV light in patterns specific to their species, become much more visible against backgrounds. Even common household items may appear dramatically different through their eyes, containing patterns and visual information completely hidden from human perception. 11. The earthquake predictors. Those moments when your cat suddenly appears agitated for no reason might actually be their response to subtle seismic vibrations completely imperceptible to humans. Your cat's body contains specialized mechanoreceptors that detect ground vibrations at frequencies and amplitudes far below human threshold. This extraordinary sensitivity allows them to perceive preliminary tremors that occur before more noticeable seismic activity. Their ability to detect these minute vibrations explains documented cases of cats displaying unusual behavior minutes or even hours before earthquakes that humans couldn't feel coming. While seismologists rely on sophisticated equipment, your cat's biological vibration detection system constantly monitors these invisible signals. The precision of this ability extends beyond just earthquakes. Your cat registers the vibrations of approaching vehicles, footsteps through building foundations, and even the subtle tremors of distant storms long before they arrive. This explains why they might suddenly appear uneasy or seek higher ground without apparent cause. Their nervous system is processing a rich landscape of vibrational information that shapes their behavior, but remains completely undetectable to human senses. 12. The magnetic field navigators. Unknown to most owners, cats perceive Earth's magnetic field, an invisible force that human senses can't detect without specialized equipment. Their bodies contain magnetoreceptor cells that provide them with an internal compass, constantly orienting them within the planet's magnetic landscape. This remarkable ability helps explain how some cats find their way home across incredible distances. They're not just using scent or memory, but also reading the magnetic field lines as directional guides. Researchers have observed cats preferring to align themselves along north-south axes when relaxed, unconsciously positioning themselves in harmony with Earth's magnetic flow. Perhaps most fascinating is how they detect subtle magnetic anomalies in their environment. Certain geological formations, large metal objects, or electronic devices create disruptions in the magnetic field that your cat perceives clearly. Their strange aversion to specific spots in your home might not be random quirks, but responses to magnetic disturbances completely invisible to you, unseen forces that guide their movement and behavior in ways we're only beginning to understand. 13. The electrical field sensor. Your home is filled with electrical fields that remain completely undetectable to your senses, yet your cat navigates this invisible landscape with remarkable awareness. Their specialized sensory system detects the subtle electrical charges emitted by household wiring, electronic devices, and even static electricity buildup that human bodies cannot perceive. This extraordinary sensitivity helps explain those peculiar moments when your cat suddenly avoids certain areas or appears fascinated by seemingly empty spots. They're responding to electrical fields surrounding outlets, hidden wiring, or active electronic devices. Their behavior that appears random to you is actually a calculated response to an unseen electrical topography. Most intriguing is how this ability influences their interaction with their environment. Notice how cats sometimes seem to know when a device is about to activate moments before it makes any sound? They've detected the subtle electrical field changes that precede operation. This sensory dimension completely escapes human perception but constantly influences your cat's behavior, an invisible realm of electrical currents that they process and respond to with incredible precision. Now that you've discovered these 13 extraordinary senses your cat possesses, those strange behaviors finally make sense. Your cat isn't just being quirky or random. They're responding to an entire sensory world that exists right alongside ours, yet remains completely inaccessible to human perception. Understanding these remarkable abilities doesn't just satisfy curiosity, it transforms how you interpret your cat's behavior. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell to join our little community. See you in the next one. Stay awesome.